It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies. We're talking the Calgary Underground Film Festival pretty much every day this week. 3 days down, 4 to go. But today we're focusing on what we saw on day 3. So directors and actors beware. You cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim.
Hey, hey.
And our man Murray. Hello, Murray.
Yo.
So, with the introductions out of the way, let's rage on.
Okay, well, it was a jam-packed day yesterday. We saw all kinds of stuff. And for those listening, just to remind everybody that you can find this content, if you live in Alberta, at calgaryundergroundfilm.org. And there is a shitload of content that is super fantastic. So, yeah, buy some tickets and support our film festival. That is an Alberta icon.
Sure, I'd say that.
Is that a good word? Icon?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. What do you think, Mur?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Iconic.
High fives around, everybody. So, what did we see? What was it, yesterday? Yeah, this was yesterday.
This was yesterday.
Days are going by so fast.
We saw 5 movies yesterday.
All right. So, yeah, we saw A Dog's Death, House of Cardin. We saw Narrowsburg, $5 at the door, and we ended it with
Random Acts of Violence.
in a drive-in movie, people.
Sweet.
Sweet. So, Dog's Death. What'd you think?
Dog's Death. I liked it a lot, actually.
That didn't surprise me in the least.
It's a co-production between Uruguay, France, and Argentina. How'd that happen?
I know, right?
So, yeah, it's from 2019. I thought that this was fantastic. I absolutely adored this movie.
I knew you would. As I was watching it, falling asleep, I thought Bryce would love this.
Just cast absolutely perfectly. The darkest of dark humor. Just so good. And it had a happy ending?
Ish?
Kinda?
Ish?
So,
Yeah,
you know
sure,
what?
I'd say happy ending.
Yeah, why not?
Not the same kind of happy ending we may be looking for when we go to a massage therapist, but, similar, I guess, for them.
I've never gone to a massage therapist. What are you talking about?
Huh, well, we'll go this afternoon.
All right. Anyways, Mondo.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
I loved it.
This was a meh for me.
What?
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry. It was
How?
very slow.
Why? What?
Very slow and draggy.
No. It was just methodically paced to
slow
suck you
and
into,
draggy. I kept going,
to suck
something
you
has to
into
happen.
the
It didn't make
movie.
me suck in. It didn't suck me anyway.
Oh, my
There was no
goodness.
sucking in. Well, there was a little bit of sucking, but it wasn't to do.
I was sucked in.
No, I wasn't sucked in. It didn't pull me in, actually.
It was so good.
I liked some of the concepts, but ultimately, there wasn't any big shocks or drivers that kept pulling me into the suspense level. I didn't find the suspense was where it should be for what was actually happening. Don't get me wrong, the acting was spectacular. In particular, the main actor
and his wife.
She was great. All the cast was great, but him in particular, and I think it was Mario was the main guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guillermo Arengo or Arenjo. I don't speak Espanolo. So Guillermo Arengo. Yeah, he was fantastic as the. I don't know. Was he even qualified to be a vet? I don't
Well,
know.
you made a big mistake at the beginning.
It was pretty big. It was like pretty massive, actually.
Looking at the 2 bottles. Whoops.
Yeah, but the funniest part about that part,
Hey,
actually.
he got it right in the end, though, right?
Yeah, because he torched the dog and got rid of it.
Oh, no. I thought anyways.
Well, the funniest thing about it, actually, so I didn't hate the movie. I just found it didn't. It was very slow and methodical. Yes,
It was
100%.
perfectly paced.
For you, it was perfectly paced.
Oh, it was so
For
good.
me, I wanted
layers
more.
layers of dread on top of layers of dread.
Yes, there was a lot
so
of dread.
good.
I wanted something more spectacular. And okay, so explain this to me.
Funny.
Explain this to me.
So funny. You didn't think it was funny?
Oh no, yeah, it was definitely funny.
Oh.
But so they went from the scene where he kind of goes to their house to bring him the box after he torches the dog.
Yeah.
And then, like, instantly the next day, he's like surrounded. It's like, how did it go from? I'm just like, how did that happen so fast?
So
Social media? Is that what you're saying?
That's the day and age we're living in, baby.
Okay.
That's how it works.
It just seemed a little.
Plus, if somebody thinks that a dog's been mistreated, that spreads like wildfire.
Was it mistreated or just murdered?
Well, you know what I'm saying. you kill someone's dog and you get an
By
immediate
accident.
response.
I guess.
Okay.
I guess.
By accident, but he kind of covers it up.
As Jim is wearing his John Wick shirt.
Yeah,
Yes,
there needs to be.
If anybody should understand this, Jim.
It's John
It's
Wick.
John Wick. Well, John
Exactly.
Wick knows everything.
There you go.
So yeah, this was a meh for me.
This was the best movie of the film festival so far. This got me. You know what? I was so far. Everything was pretty good, and I was like, no, so far so good. It's all pretty good. But I haven't given a Mondo to a feature yet. And this
then
was
it
a
came
super
along.
Mondo.
I
loved
A dog
this
murdering
movie.
Mondo for you.
Wow, let's not call it that.
I was going to say dog killing
Hey,
Mondo.
Yeah, hey.
no,
Calls
no,
it as
no.
you sees it. This was it should have been a little bit more suspenseful when it could have been. So I think that was I'm going to say this is the director's
It
fault
was-
for me.
It was perfect.
It was the director's fault because he had a cast that was
Perfectly
beyond.
shot, cast perfectly.
No, I think you're wrong. Anyway, it was enjoyable. People should see it and be prepared. You might need to have some wake ups to watch some of it because it will be draggy in parts. All right. Well, maybe this is where we'll also disagree because this next one was my favorite one of yesterday.
What, House of Cardin?
Yeah, I loved this movie.
What?
Yeah, I absolutely loved
It
this
was
movie.
fine.
No, it was for a doc about Pierre Cardin, which what blew me my mind the most about this film was I didn't know anything about this guy, and everybody knows who he is. Like I even had his original cologne. In fact, I can almost say I think I have some of it left in my cupboard.
Really?
30 years later.
Yeah, 30 years later. And it still smells as good as it did the day I bought it. I didn't know this guy was such an influence. Like, I mean, you know, certain icons, I mean, his name alone carries with it, right? But interesting, and also just getting to see the Q&A after the fact with the directors.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay, it's kind of cool. So I did a little bit of a write-up on here. I was kind of blown away how kind and gentle a person he was. Also, what an amazing collaborator. Like, he helped out some of the biggest people in fashion. I thought it was a well done and fascinating picture of a great fashion icon. I'm not really a big fan of fashion. But I was a huge fan of this. He was to fashion what Cuff is to film festivals. A forward-thinking rebel who loved a good time. He gets a fashion-forward Mondo.
Well, there you go. Well, you know what? As I say, it was a meh for me. A lot of cool stuff in there. I mean, he was actually the first person to put somebody of color on the runways in France. Nobody done it before. He did it with a Japanese woman first.
Yep.
You know, he kind of thought that everybody should be able to wear his fashion, so he was the first one to kind of do the ready-to-wear type of deal where you don't have to go in and get it tailored and all that crap. So, you know what? A lot of cool stuff. Interesting dude.
Yeah, and he's still alive.
And he's still alive at
Guess what?
95,
I did the research
96.
to find out if he was still alive.
There you go. Nice change of pace instead of just throwing stuff out there.
Hey, I'm saying you saw the doc and you didn't know the answer.
There you go. At any rate.
So it was a meh for you and it was a Mondo for me.
It was a meh. I liked it. Didn't love it. It was fine. It was.
Yeah, so I know we will talk about this later, but let's just talk about it now. This was my favorite movie of yesterday. For you, I'm assuming it was
it's
a dog's
definitely
death.
a dog's death.
There we go.
I don't think there's any question after hearing our opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So, we just want to make sure.
We'll repeat it real quick at
That's
the end
right.
anyways. But
Let's keep talking about it. We got all day.
no, we don't.
Okay,
Gotta
so
watch more movies.
this was the one that you were most excited about.
I was really
you thought
looking
this
forward
was
to
going to
this.
be the Fabo of the festival, which
It was one of them.
Narrowsburg.
Narrowsburg.
So, was it as Fabo as as you expected?
Pretty close. I really enjoyed it.
So is a Mondo for you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm giving it a Mondo.
Wow.
I don't know how you can't. It was just such a fascinating story with this Richie Castellano. Dude's totally delusional. It's a crazy story of, two people just taking a town
To task.
Really. Just milking them for all they're worth and moving on. I kind of like the way they set it up, even though it was kind of predictable how they're, and I'm a little bit of a spoiler here. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, the way that they just completely focus on Richie the whole way through, you kind of know that it's going to come back to
bite him in the ass.
To Jocelyn in the end. And really, I think, after you kind of see Richie and he's that rah guy and gets people going, but he's not the brains behind the operation. In fact, I'm of the mind.
Did he have any brain? Was the real question.
I'm of the mind after watching this that he had no clue what was going on. That he was
still the
taken for a
one.
ride.
I mean, he was and he wasn't because
he wasn't. But
because he obviously knew he was swindling people.
I believe him though when he says he was giving her the money and he didn't. Like I believe that.
This is what's so funny is that when things like this happen. How is there no records of anything?
Yeah.
Did people give 100,000?
Briefly, these two basically went into a town, decided that they were going to cast all the townspeople in a movie and make a movie, and they were also going to have a film festival there, and they were going to be the Sundance of the East. This is in Narrowsburg.
It's like 60 miles outside of New York,
something
I guess,
like that,
right?
yeah. So, that's basically what it was about. Now these two basically swindled this town. Amazingly enough, that For Deadly Reasons, it was kind of cool at the end where they were doing the rundown that the movie that they were going to make actually did get made, and it actually played at a few kind of.
Did you see the festivals that it played though?
I did.
I mean, some completely random ones that it's like,
you know what?
Of course they won.
And it played.
Did you write them down?
It played at the Big Eddie Film Festival.
Yeah, like what the hell is Big Eddie Film? Was there like 2 films at the Big Eddie Film Festival?
So it was all right. This was kind of like, I like how they described it as the Music Man without the magical happy ending. It's what they kind of decided this whole scenario.
This is another one we're talking about happy endings. We have to go for a massage this afternoon.
There you go. Overall, no, absolutely. It was a Mondo for me. I really enjoyed this doc. So
this, my description is a documentary of a modern day version of The Music Man. That's my description. It was a sad story and a warning to everybody to not trust anyone ever. And I'm looking at you two right now, suspiciously.
That's not the message.
It was a meh for me.
Really?
Yeah, and you know why? There was a few things. We've talked about this in the past about documentary directors, and it was very intentionally done to make Richie. It's like, what's happening on my left hand when something's happening here? They didn't even really give anything of her character. They really didn't talk. They just said, "Here's Richie's wife, Jocelyn," and then they show her a couple of pictures.
They made a choice.
I know they made a choice, but I think there was a lot of things missing from this story that should have probably come out.
I think the other problem is that they had a lot of information on Richie. Jocelyn's not as easy to get information on. They did some digging and they got some stuff, but Richie's an open book because Richie's a doofus. He's a complete doofus.
Yeah, and he keeps talking about everything.
Exactly.
But everything comes out of his mouth is a lie. So
pretty much.
Really, what does it matter?
But that's why they had this absolute endless reservoir of information on Richie, whether it was lies, because he's just telling them whatever.
Yeah, and
she's not telling them, like, even when they have the sit down interviews with her, and of course, with the way that the questioning I'm sure went, that she would clam up, but if Richie was in her seat, he'd just be spewing off all sorts of stuff, but she's very closed mouthed and everything that they had to do with her
strategic
had to do with just kind of stuff that they caught her in. All of a sudden, she's using the same. She's changed her name and running another festival and using the same picture that she used on.
I know, with a different pseudonym on her name.
So she was Jocelyn Castellano. She was Marie Castaldo. She was Jocelyn Castaldo. She was Marie Rousseau. She had all these names
that were part of her name, actually, probably. So here's the thing: when I was watching it, I kept saying to myself, This reminds me of a doc series on Netflix. And maybe that's why I'm thinking I think there was more things missing that we didn't get to see, is because the way it was unwinding. As I was watching it, I'm going like, okay, there's no hooks in this yet. Like they're kind of talking about this thing that's happening, and to me at that point they hadn't gotten me interested in them. And then the characters.
I disagree. At the end of the day, I felt for them.
Of course I felt for them.
I felt for Richie a little bit.
I didn't feel anything for that.
I did. He's such a doofus. You can't help but love the guy. He's an idiot.
No, he's an ass bag.
He's a lovable loser. At any rate,
who fucking ripped the town off for millions of dollars?
But these things
I don't feel
happen.
anything for him except for the electric chair.
But I don't know that he wasn't the mastermind behind all this.
It doesn't matter.
But at the end of the day, I totally felt for the towns. I felt for the townspeople, and you know what? It was a story that absolutely needed to be made as a doc, and I thought they did it well.
I will agree. I did end up liking it, but I did not love it. And it's possibly because half of the things I watch on Netflix are stories like this that I find they make it into a miniseries, like a 3 or 4 parter. So maybe it's because I wanted more details about certain things, and I wasn't coming out in the doc. So maybe I'm looking at it from a different lens. Maybe this is better than I think. So, but for me, it was
enough about the Castellanos in Narrowsburg.
Yeah. But hey, let's talk about the short that was in front of it.
The short that was in front of it. What was it?
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
This was a super mondo for me.
Was it?
Yeah.
I hate to say this. I got into a time crunch.
And so you couldn't watch it?
I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch this, and I couldn't watch one other short today.
I'm so sad for you because you have to go back and watch this now.
Back and watch it.
And it's actually Mother's Day, but in Spanish, I guess, because it's Spanish. This was a great short, and it deserves some high praise. I didn't really know what was happening in it. The very beginning, it's kind of just this band, this brass band, or this expanded mariachi band goes and they wake up this family and they start playing this Mexican song, and they're all playing and singing, and they have a singer, and you're kind of like, what the heck's going on here? And then you find out that they're going to every single one of the people's families in the band, and it's Mother's Day, so they're going to each one. So they woke up some of the mothers at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then they just go from house to house to house to house, and they show it all. And I was bawling my eyes out at the end of it.
All right, I'm going back.
You got to see this one. It's so heartwarming and good.
Right.
Whereas Narrowsburg kind of pulled me down. I was like, wow, they probably showed Mother's Day to go, this is what real love looks like, and then we're going to show you what pain and suffering looks like.
Why people suck.
Hey, pain and suffering is good topic for a doc, man.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, we got $5 at the door.
Yeah.
So, this is a story of Crocs and Roll. This was all the music that I grew up on. In fact, a lot of the band members that were in it, I've either met them, I've seen them live, or some of them I've actually opened for. So it's in my back days. All great memories of the band that I loved. Biggest issue I had was, unless you knew who everybody was, it wasn't like, sometimes they would tell the person, but you didn't necessarily know what the band was. Like, for example, the guy who did a lot of the talking was the lead singer from Rheostatics, who's probably one of my favorite bands of all times. And I was lucky enough to see them. The first time they'd ever come to Calgary was last year. At least that's what they said on stage at the Folk Fest. So yeah, it was amazing. I wish the director it was very much a homegrown thing to me. Yeah. I think the music, there was pieces this wasn't a rage, it was a meh, because I liked the music and the story. I liked to hear
what music.
Unfold. Yeah, there wasn't enough music in it.
There wasn't enough music. There was no clips of anything.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of talking heads. And if you were there and you were nostalgic about it, you would absolutely love this movie.
Oh yeah, totally.
But if you have no idea what Crocs and Rolls is going in, there was nothing there that made you really care about it. And I apologize, but yeah, That kind of
Ruined it for you.
It wrecked it for me. I mean, as I say, nostalgia would absolutely take over.
Oh yeah.
If you knew anything about this place, or even if you had a connection to some of the bands like you did.
Yeah.
That probably brought it up to a minute. But and I didn't understand, why was she going? What was the point of going through her cassette tapes and her recording like CBC radio programs?
Oh, well.
How is that connected to Crocs and Rolls? I'm confused by that. Is it because she went to Crocs and Rolls, saw all these great bands, and that opened her eyes to other
So it
stuff?
kind of was her. There was a little bit about her journey into
that
the
what it
whole.
was?
Yeah, because it was funny
I
as
was
she's
lost.
talking about these shows on CBC. That's what I grew up with too. Like, and I lived in a big city, so it wasn't like I didn't know this. So I got introduced to some of these bands, and then of course they'd come through Thunder Bay because, I mean, there's nothing. There's like, you're driving for hours. So it was almost like they had to have a place to crash, because to drive from Toronto to Winnipeg, which
I
is
get
literally
that.
24 hours to drive.
But this was
there.
a documentary about Crocs and Rolls. Why are we?
No, I know.
What's with the cassette tapes and the?
Well, so because she was talking about her journey. So, and I think that's maybe where some of the flaws were in it.
I think maybe it was a little too much about her.
Yeah, or maybe it
that's
should have been more about her. I don't know.
One or the other. But
Yeah, I
at
think
the end of
that-
the day, I didn't learn much about either.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm kind of excited to know that this place existed. And actually, as a musician in Calgary, everybody knew about Crocs and Roll. Everybody. Like, you would talk, okay, if you're going to try and do the drive to Toronto, you got to make sure you set up in Thunder Bay, because if you don't, first of all, you're not going to have enough gas money to get there, because nobody had money back then, right? It was like, we're sleeping on people's couches and
Yeah, and
you
they
name
should have
it, right?
focused on that more. I know they touched upon it, but
Yeah, I agree. I think that maybe
So-
I like the content, I like the bands, I like the story, but I
And-
don't think
and
the
that-
direction
Well, yeah,
was as
and that-
strong as I wished it
it
would have
almost
been.
seemed to me that she didn't have enough to stretch it out into a full-length feature, and that's why we got all this other
Yeah,
filler
maybe.
stuff,
I don't know.
but-
Like, obviously, I think there was enough content there. It was the structure of the content maybe that was the gap. But for me, it was a meh. But yeah, I would say it was a pretty low meh. But also, I was in love with the bands, so
And that's the whole thing, And you know what? It didn't make me rage, but it's the lowest of mess. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
But I had some issues, as I just
yes,
stated.
I know. I had those same issues. Okay, so here's a question for you then, and maybe
Yes.
Murray's a very pop sort of music fan, right, Murr? That's safe to say.
Top 40, yeah.
Yeah, you're very top 40.
I used to be.
You came from metal, and I came from punk. So did some of the bands that they talked about, was it bands that you used to hear of, or did you know of?
Oh,
did you ever hear No Means No, or did you know about
I-
the Real Statics? Or
Yes, I've heard them all.
yeah, there you go. So
But
obviously, they weren't your favorite
they weren't-
genre.
they weren't-
like, you wouldn't go to
They
the
were on
Westward
the
Club.
fringes of what I would like. If someone else was going to something like I'm trying to think who did I see out of that? I've seen a couple of them.
But did you see them at the Westward Club?
No,
Where did you see them at?
I
Do you
don't remember. I don't remember.
Was it in Calgary?
Yeah, I'm sure I saw them
Okay.
in Calgary.
Yeah, because it's funny. The Westward Club was kind of like...
The only way that I'd see any of those bands, though, is if a friend of mine was going and they said, "You want to go?" And I would always say yes. If someone's
Yeah,
going to see
some
a
live band,
I don't
you were-
care who the live
Yeah,
band
you would
is. If
still
you're
go.
going, you're giving me a ride to it. Sign me up.
Yeah. And obviously the Republic, too. You must have hung out at the Republic a little bit.
That Republic was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. I saw Bad Brains at the Republic.
What?
And it blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
They were so awesome.
Yeah, that was an awesome show.
Yeah.
I was pretty much if I wasn't at the Republic, I was at the Westward Club.
Yeah.
So in the culture of that film, it really resonated because that was how I lived at the same time that this was all going on. So
All right.
anyway, yeah, maybe round 2, Crocs and Roll Part 2. We'll see a different version. But there was two other. These two you didn't see either.
No,
There was
those two, unfortunately, I did see
Okay,
because this
well-
was a live one.
Well, I want to say you should go back and see both of them again.
Why?
Because they were music. Okay, so the first one was Gunda Gold by Cartel Madras.
Just not my thing.
Okay, did you watch that one?
Yeah, I watched them both.
Oh, sorry,
I had
okay.
to because it was live.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget what.
Don't get me
happened
wrong, I would
yesterday.
have anyways, but it
Yeah,
was live.
I actually really, really love that Gunda Gold one. I like that song was stuck in my head the whole rest of the day.
I don't remember it.
No, that's too bad. And then the Amy Nelson one, Educated Woman. I'm not a country music fan, so I really didn't love the music, but I thought the music video was done pretty cool.
All right.
So it gets a meh. And Gunda Gold gets a Mondo, because I want to now go hear that song
And I'm just not
all
going to
day
rate
long.
either of them.
Well, and yet, well, I won't bring it up, but you do like, obviously, Indian music.
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Got no problem with Indian music. I don't got no problem with any
kind
good
of
music.
There you go. Good in your perspective. All right, so we're going to talk.
That's the only way that I can describe it.
That's right.
Everybody's got their opinion of what good is.
Yeah, it's not funny.
That's why there's all sorts of different genres of music.
Yeah, Screamo rules.
There you go.
So the capper for the night.
Yeah, we got to go to the drive-in.
Yes, we did. And we saw Random Acts of Violence.
Yeah, good Canadian production.
Let's hear it. Break it down.
Yeah, co-written, co-produced, directed, and starring Jay Baruchel. That's a lot of hats.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I have that many hats.
you don't. I've seen your hat collection.
There you go. Yeah, it was a pretty
It's normally just a dick hat.
pretty enjoyable romp overall. Brings up some moral issues of idolizing serial killers, and especially the way the lead.
You can
in this
relate to
movie
that.
No, I can't. Don't know why you'd even throw that out there.
Because you're a slasher fan. It's like one of your favorite genres.
Well, and that brings up, in the Q&A after, where Jay Baruchel was kind of bringing up, you know what? We remember Jason, but can you name any of his victims when he's talking about movies from the past?
Karen. It was the girl who lived at the end, I think. Of
That's not a victim there,
Generic
dipshit.
name.
Why? Karen was her name.
She wasn't a victim. Can you remember any of his victims? That means somebody he murdered.
Oh, yeah. So was somebody.
Cheerleader number 2.
Yeah, cheerleader number 2.
Yeah, whatever.
But it wasn't
and
real
that's a
life.
good. That's a
Yeah.
good.
It is a good point. Yeah.
It is a good point. And well, the same thing goes for you remember Ted Bundy, but can you name any of his victims?
No.
Exactly. So that's kind of what this movie to me was
yeah,
about.
Was telling. Oh yeah, for sure. But interesting you say that, because now when you see these things like the serial killer in Toronto, the guy who was murdering everybody in the Rainbow District in Toronto, they literally reversed that. They tried not to talk about him, and they talked. Now I still can't remember all the people's names that he killed.
Yeah.
But they really drilled it home. We want to make this about the victims. And they kept two, and so.
And I think that's the way that things should be going. That's the way it should be.
But how do you
presented.
how do you not? Because it's like I only have to remember one person's name, which is the guy that killed it, and then and interesting the dichotomy of him, the comic book guy. Who's so well, and near the end, I don't want to spoil anything for this because people should see this movie.
It's also playing again. So
Yeah, it's playing again, but people should see this movie. But between him and his girlfriend, because she's writing a book about the victims,
and that's the whole point of the movie. It's one's trying to glorify one thing and one's trying to sort of do the right thing more.
But the fact that they were a couple was kind of what I didn't really get, because they have two completely opposite points of view.
belief systems.
Well, there's a lot of couples out there like that.
I know a lot of people. One person's Jewish, one person's
not Jewish,
Muslim, or not Jewish, or that.
Really the same.
No, but even that, I mean, that's totally opposing religions right there, right? Like they get past that for the love that they have for each other, right?
The heart wants what it wants.
Yeah, it's true. And that's not their whole person, right? That's not their whole personages.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. When she had to look at some of the pictures, and when they brought her into the cop shop, and they're showing pictures, and they're like, "Do you even know what he does for a living?" And she didn't. I don't think she'd ever read his comic.
Oh,
she's like, I'm not really into that.
Well, yeah, it was clear that she had never read the comic, because otherwise she would have recognized or remembered some of the stuff.
No, she did remember some of it.
No, she was like, she's like, I don't look at that stuff. That's gross. I don't like it.
No, because was it the other girl?
Yeah, the other girl was his assistant. She was all about it. She wanted to help draw for it.
She
was drawing dead dogs on the side of the highway and stuff.
Right. Whatever. All right. Anyways,
so did you have more to add to that, by the way?
No. I'll just give my rating. Meh.
Okay. Mur, do you want to talk? You got some breakdown for this.
Jay Baruchel, I will say afterwards, was quite well spoken, and he knows his stuff. He's a passionate guy, and it made me appreciate the movie more watching him talk about it, because he was really passionate.
Oh, totally.
Everything he says that comes out of his mouth is he's put some thought into what he's going to say.
Yeah, and every moving part of that film, because of the
him.
hats, he knew everything, and he gave reasons as to why. So, Mur, what'd you think?
Well, yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, again, it wasn't a Mondo, but I mean, it was enjoyable. I had a few continuity issues being in the film industry. Some with casting, some with just the convenience of events that happened and things like that. But yeah, I did enjoy it.
It is a horror movie.
And yeah, well, again, that's not really my chosen
Your
genre.
genre,
But
yeah.
I do enjoy a good one. But yeah, it was enjoyable, but yeah, not great. I mean, I love Jay's stuff, and I enjoyed hearing him talk.
And him, yeah.
I just found like when he was explaining his reasons why he did stuff, I wasn't getting that he actually, succeeded in doing what he thought he did.
He said he did, yeah.
Yeah, like he was talking about the violence and how realistic and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it just seemed like every other horror movie I've ever seen. It didn't seem like it was any more real than the other ones. But again,
there was one scene, I'll argue on that, but go finish what you
no, that was pretty much it. I mean, other than that, I did enjoy the story as a whole. It's just,
it's just not your genre favorite.
Yeah, not my genre, and yeah, I enjoyed it when it was a little lighter before it got super serious. And then it just got weird at the end. But
what say you, Jim?
Well, I got a lot of things to say. Maybe not all that everyone's going to like. Some people might. I thought the music was super cool.
Music was good.
Gave off a real cool 80s vibe. Even the film style, I found very homage to 80s slasher films. Like, I really felt the whole colorization and how it was. I really felt like I was sitting back in the drive-in in the 80s. Like, I was just absorbing everything about that night last night because, this movie has to be seen in a drive-in. Like, slasher movies need to be seen in a drive-in. I kept saying, I kept turning to Murray and I was like, hey, Murray, do you think people are going to pop up and pretend to stab us through the window? Because that would have been even better if they would have had cuff members going around, jumping up, going, ah!
Yeah, we had staff members roaming around.
Yeah, they kept
I was waiting
having
for
security, which was great. I felt safe, I felt that Philip could potentially protect us from a serial killer if one was there, waiting at the drive-in.
Philip could protect us.
Yeah, you've seen the color of his hair?
All right.
Well, at least he does security for a living, so I'm sure he's got a taser somewhere on him or pepper spray,
as we all do.
Who doesn't carry around pepper spray and a taser in their pocket? Did I get my fill of stabby, shooty, hacky, slashy? Yes. Did I think it was scary as Jay said it would be? Not really.
Not as scary, I will give you that.
Yeah, unfortunately, slasher films are not my favorite type of horror film, but I beg the question, and I pose it to my boy Bryce here. A few episodes ago, we talked a little bit about the future of slasher.
Yeah.
If you remember this conversation. And do you think that Slasher Man could be the next generation of slashers that we're going to get for this next decade?
No, because I think Jay's done with it, and I don't think he'd sell off the rights or anything to this thing that he personally.
But maybe he needs money.
I don't think.
Well,
he does.
the question goes: is this an original enough character to have a following of Slasher Man 2, Slasher Man 3?
No.
Slasher Man 4?
No.
5?
No.
Maybe 6?
No, I don't. I think this is a one-off. I don't see this continuing.
I think what it comes down to is it's not that deep of a character. Like, again, with serial killers and even some of the, great slasher films.
Yeah, Halloween has a lot of depth to his.
The main character has layers.
Yeah.
Of what makes them what they are.
Well, and this movie wasn't so much about the killer at all.
No.
So
it was setting up the next killer, potentially.
And that I could see.
Yeah. That might be possible.
Okay, well, I thought it was a nice little spin on the genre. Being that it was in a drive-in, it gets extra points for me. In my opinion, I still say the only place to watch a slasher movie is in a drive-in. So unfortunately, we don't have very many of them.
Yeah.
For seeing this would get a Mondo, but seeing it in the movie theater, it would probably have just been a meh. To summarize, more jump scares, more murderiness. Great. It was a great ending. Can't wait for Slasher Man 2, Quest for Fire.
There you go.
I've even titled it. So Jay, if you ever hear this podcast, the title of number 2 is Slasher Man 2, Quest for Fire.
Jay, don't use that title.
That was a fun event though.
Yeah, no,
It
going to the
was.
drive-in
It was
was
well
good.
done.
I can't wait for the next one, which we're going on Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we won't talk about that. But do you remember what we're seeing tomorrow? Or today, actually, to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, we're seeing Big Fur.
Yep.
We're seeing Climate of the Hunter.
Yep.
We're seeing something that I'm really looking forward to. We Are Little Zombies. And then we're seeing something that you're looking forward to. Uncle Peckerwood. Or Head. Peckerwood, Peckerhead.
Head. Well,
Sorry,
you've
Uncle
got
Peckerhead.
too much penal ideology going through your brain right now.
I don't know what that means.
Peckerhead. Never mind.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, no, I'm actually looking forward to today. I hope it's as good as yesterday was, because I had a really good time yesterday, and I'm hoping I do that again today. It's gonna be great.
Yesterday was like the best. I keep saying the day before was the best day of my holidays, but yesterday was by far the best day of my
It
holidays
was
so
awesome.
far.
You got to cap it off with a drive-in.
I know.
So good.
And sitting there watching it with my best buddies. All right, well, I guess that's it for today. You're gonna see us tomorrow or hear us tomorrow. So please listen in to see what we're hearing, and hopefully we give you some ideas to binge watch this weekend for all you people working.
Tune in
the
about the same time.
Yeah. So thanks, Ragers, for listening. Thanks to the extended Film Rage crew of Leonard Conlon with his artistic vision and photography via Leonard Conlon Photography. And Leonard, wear a fucking helmet when you're riding your bike. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows. So if they see Leonard and they listen to this podcast, tell them to wear a fucking helmet.
And don't run him over.
And also don't run him over. So watch for new pics from Mr. Potato from our buddy Leonard. He's stalking around the World Wide Web, so stay alert. Listen to us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And check out our website at Calgary. No, stop there for a second. People need to go to CalgaryUndergroundFilm.org. But our website is FilmRageYYC.com. So check both of those out, because there's lots of content on both that are exciting and entertaining. Leave messages for everybody. We're always wanting to hear your feedback to make this a raging blast for all listeners, so please comment often, and please make us rage. Please, please. That's it for today. And tune in tomorrow for more Calgary Underground Film Festival streaming reviews. Rage on.
Rage
Rage on.